Hi, this is the mean, median, mode, and range practice video. And so we have some different sets of data here, and we're just going to practice finding the mean, median, mode, and range for each of these sets of data. So what I would encourage you to do is to copy the data down for whatever number we're doing in your math notebook and work through the example with me. Just pause the video as needed to be able to keep up. And we're probably only going to go through about 4 examples. And then there are the other 4 that you can see on the screen. I'm going to go ahead and give you the answers. That way you can try those on your own. And then pause the video, try them on your own, and then unpause it to see the answers and see if what you came up with is correct. So we're going to start on the left side of your paper, or on my paper. And who remembers the very first thing we should do with these numbers? Before we calculate mean, median, mode, and range, you always want your data in order, least to greatest. So we're going to go ahead and write all our data down. One thing you'll notice I'm doing is I am slashing through numbers as I write them, because one thing that can mess you up is if there are, for example, 5 numbers up here, but I only write 4. Now with a smaller set of data, it's not as likely to mess up, but when we get down here to larger sets of data, it's going to be really important that you kind of check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, and I usually have my students just put a little smiley face, that was a rough smiley, next to their data so that I know that they checked to make sure they didn't leave out any numbers. So I like to start with the mode because it's the easiest, and we can remember that mode is the one that happens the most. It is the only one that you're allowed to either have no mode or a tie. So for this set of data, what would be our mode? We're looking for the ones that occur the most. So we can see there's 2 1s and 2 4s. So then our mode here, you could either say none, no mode, or you could say that there's a tie and there are 2 modes, 1 and 4. Alright, next we will jump over to the mean, because I can do the mean without kind of messing up my data. So the mean is the average or the fair share. So for the mean, we have to add up all our numbers and then divide by however many numbers there are. So I'm going to add up 1 plus 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 5. And that will give me 15. And then I'm going to divide by however many equal groups I want to make. And so since there are 5 numbers, I'm going to divide by 5. So that would give me a mean of 3. So again, we added together all of our numbers, and then we divided by 4 to get the mean. I'm sorry, divided by 5, because there's 5 numbers. My bad, sorry. Alright, now let's jump over to the range. Range is how much our data changes from beginning to end. So to find the range, I want to look at the smallest number and the largest number, and then I want to subtract. So 5 minus 1 means that our data stretches a value of 4. 5 minus 1 gives me 4. And then last but not least, our median. Our median's the middle. So I'm going to cross off pairs of numbers, and I'm going to find out that when I'm directly in the middle, so 2 slashed out here and 2 slashed out here, I am at 4. So that is how we find the mean, median, mode, and range for that set of data. Once you have in your head exactly what the mode is the most, median's the middle, mean is the average. Those become a little more easy to remember how to do. And then range, I think about stretching our data out in a straight line, and I also remember that a subtraction sign is a straight line, so that's the one where I just want to subtract how far it stretches. So you can think greatest minus the least. You want the numbers on the ends when you're doing the range. Alright, I'm going to erase all of this so that it doesn't get too messy on our paper. And we're going to jump down to number 2. We're going to look at 6, 4, 8, 9, 3. First thing I should do, and the first thing you should be doing on your paper, is writing these numbers from least to greatest. So 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. Smiley face because I checked my data. Alright, now for mode, I'm looking for the one that happens the most. 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. There are no numbers that happen more often than others, so I actually am going to write that there is none or no mode. What you don't want to do is you don't want to do this, because that means that's my 0, as you guys know. But if you do that, then that would mean that you have a mode of 0, meaning there's a lot of zeros in your data. So what you don't want to do is that. That is incorrect. If there is no mode, if there's nothing repeating itself, you want to actually write out none. Alright, now let's find the mean. So we want to take all of this data and we want to add it together. And when we add all that data together, after we get a total, then we will divide by however many numbers there are. And again, there's 5 numbers. So when I get that total and I divide, which should be, I believe, 30 when we add all that up, or 20, 30, 17, yeah, 30. So when I add that all up and get 30, that's why you're going to use a calculator. I add all that up and get 30, then I'm going to divide by 5, and that will give me a mean of 6, or a fair share, meaning instead of this being only 3 and this being 9, I put them all together, make 5 equal piles. That will give me my mean, or my average, or my fair share. Alright, next is the median. How do I find the one in the middle? To find the one in the middle, I'm going to cross off my pairs. 3 and 9 are a pair, 4 and 8 are a pair, and since there's only one oddball left in the middle, then he is my median. He's the number directly in the middle. 6. And then last but not least, the range. The only one of these that's not a measure of center or measure of central tendency is our range. So I think, how much does our data stretch? So I want to know the least and the greatest, and I'm going to put the greatest in the front. 9 minus 3, which makes our range also 6. And so our data ranges a value of 6 between 3 and 9. So you could think about it on a number line. If you're going from 3 to 9, you're crossing across 6 numbers. Alright, one more example. Number 3, you should hopefully already be writing your data in order, least to greatest for number 3. So I'm going to take the 2 and 3 first, and 6, and 7, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. I've checked to make sure I didn't leave out any numbers. Looking for my mode, the one that happens the most, I can see that the 7 occurs twice and everything else only happens once. So our mode is 7. Let's do range this time. If I want to know how much my data ranges, then it stretches from 2 all the way to 7, and range means that you want to know the difference between your 7 and your 2. So my range for that one will be 5. 7 minus 2 gives me a range of 5. If I'm thinking about a number line and I'm stretching from 2 to 7, then that is a difference of 5. Let's do the mean next so that we can see all of our numbers clearly. So mean is our average or fair share. I'm going to add up all my numbers. 2 plus 3 plus 6 plus 7 plus 7. And I believe that gives us 25. And then we are going to divide. So when I add them all up, I get 25. And then I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, which will give me a mean of 5, or an average of 5. And then last but not least for this set of data, we'll find the one directly in the middle. And there's another odd amount, so we should be good here. 2 and 7 can go, 3 and 7 can go, and that leaves us with a 6 in the center. It's really easy when it works out perfectly like that for us, but on our last example here, we are going to see a little trickier problem for finding median. Alright, and now our last example together will be number 4. And we're going to make sure we have our data in order least to greatest on our notebook page. So 2, 2, 4, 5, 5, 6, 8, 8. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I did my check to make sure I got all my numbers. And I am good to go now. So I am going to start with mode, the one that happens the most. Now, again, mode is the only one there can be a tie, or you can just say there is no mode. For this one, we have 2 2s, 2 5s, 2 8s. So really there's 2 correct answers here. Some people would say that there is no mode or that there is none. Other people would say that there's a 3-way tie and list out 2, 5, and 8. Either way is correct. You can say there are 3 modes, 2, 5, and 8, because there's a 3-way tie, or you can say no mode. Either one would be correct. I'm going to leave it as a 3-way tie, though. Alright, next up is our range, how much our data ranges from the smallest to the biggest. So range is where we're going to subtract. We're going to find the difference between our largest number and our smallest number. So our range will go from 2 to 8, which gives us a range of 6. Next, I'll do the mean one, where you have to do 2 things, add them all up, and then divide. So when I add up all of my numbers, I believe I get 40, let's see, 16, and again, you'll use a calculator for this. 16 and 4 more is 20, 30, 40. So yeah, add them all up and get 40, and then I have to divide by however many numbers there are, which there are 8. And on my calculator, 40 divided by 8 will give me a mean or an average of 5. So the mean for this set of data is 5. And now I'm going to find the median, the one in the middle. So we're going to slash 2 and 8, 2 and 8, 4 and 6. And now I can't slash both of these because I won't have anything. So we're actually stuck with a 5 and a 5. Now this one is a little easier because there is no number between 5 and 5. If you're thinking about a number line, 5 and 5 are the exact same number, so your median is just 5. But remember, if you get stuck with 2 numbers that are different, then the best thing to do here is add them together and divide by 2. So 5 plus 5 would give me 10, divided by 2 still gives me 5. So those are 4 examples of mean, median, mode, and range. What I'd love for you to do now is to take a minute and work out 6, 7, 8, and 9 in your math notebook. Just pause the video, we'll work them out, and then when you unpause it, I will have the answers filled in here for you. So just go ahead and work on 6, 7, 8, and 9 in your notebook. Pause the video, and then when you're ready and you've got all 4 done, you can unpause it and check your answers. Okay, so just as a warning, I am getting ready to show you the answer to the 4 examples that I told you to work by yourself in your notebook. So as soon as I remove this, you'll be able to check your work. So if you have not finished doing these problems, you may want to finish doing them before I reveal the answers. So that way you know if you're on the right track in finding mean, median, mode, range. Voila. So as you're looking at these answers, one thing you want to notice is that all of our answers fall somewhere in between the smallest number and the biggest number in our data. So all of our answers should be between 2 and 8. So one thing that a lot of 5th graders forget to do, for example, on mean, is they forget to divide. Well, if you forget to divide, you should know that your answer is going to be off because you've gotten something way larger than 2 and 8. So on all of these, your answer should fall somewhere between your smallest and your largest numbers. That's just a good way of checking your work. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to talk to you about it.